In naval warfare, few names inspire the same mix of awe and dread as the Kirov-Class battlecruiser. Conceived in the darkest years of the Cold War, these nuclear-powered giants were built with one mission in mind: to sink a U.S. aircraft carrier and, if necessary, cripple an entire NATO fleet. Today, decades later, one of these behemoths, the Admiral Nakhimov, has re-emerged after a staggering 3-decade-long modernization. So what makes this ship so dangerous? Why has Russia invested so heavily in keeping it alive despite sanctions, economic struggles, and a changing battlefield? And what does it mean for NATO's dominance at sea? Let's break it down. Fast forward to today. Out of the 4 Kirov-class ships ever built, only 2 remain in active service: Pyotr Veliky and Admiral Nakhimov. The latter, after nearly 30 years of upgrades, has returned to sea trials, reborn for a new era of warfare. The modernization of this warship has been anything but simple. Western sanctions had choked off access to critical electronics and guidance systems. Russia's shipyards struggled with funding shortages, technical delays, and the sheer complexity of upgrading a 28,000-ton nuclear-powered monster. Entire reactor systems had to be stripped down and rebuilt. Outdated radars and missile batteries were torn out and replaced with digital-age fire control networks. For a time, the project seemed doomed, with critics mocking the endless delays and spiraling costs. But Moscow refused to let Admiral Nakhimov die. Too much pride, too much strategy was tied into its steel frame. With every setback came renewed investment, and with every delay came the determination to see it through. The result is a ship that, while familiar on the outside, has been reborn on the inside. Gone are the old, bulky missile canisters that once held just 20 P-700 granites. In their place, a forest of vertical launch cells now lines the deck, 176 in total, each one capable of unleashing a storm of modern Russian missiles. Kalibr cruise missiles for long-range strikes, Oniks for supersonic anti-ship attacks, and the feared Zircon hypersonic missiles, capable of reaching speeds that NATO defenses can barely track, let alone intercept. What once was a single-purpose carrier killer has now become a multi-role powerhouse. With layered air defenses, advanced sensors, and upgraded anti-submarine systems, the Admiral Nakhimov can do more than just threaten U.S. carriers. It can anchor an entire Russian fleet. For the Russian Navy, the ship's resurrection is more than military utility. It is psychological. It restores a sense of parity, a reminder that even in the shadow of NATO's overwhelming numbers, Moscow still has a weapon capable of tilting the balance at sea. Admiral Nakhimov's return is not just the revival of a warship, it is the return of a symbol, a relic of the Cold War transformed into a warning for the present. When the Soviet Union set out to challenge U.S. naval supremacy, it knew it couldn't match the sheer number of American aircraft carriers. Instead, it pursued an asymmetric answer: build warships powerful enough to destroy the very centerpieces of U.S. naval strategy. Enter the Kirov-class battlecruiser, officially known as Project 1144 Orlan, or Sea Eagle. At 252 meters long and displacing around 28,000 tons, these ships were unlike anything the world had ever seen. Powered by 2 nuclear reactors, they could sprint at speeds over 32 knots and stay at sea almost indefinitely. But their real power lay in their weapons. Each carried 20 P-700 Granite missiles, massive supersonic anti-ship missiles with a range of over 550 kilometers. Each one carried either a 750-kilogram high explosive warhead or, in theory, a nuclear payload. Just one could cripple a carrier. A coordinated salvo could wipe out an entire fleet. This was the Soviet answer to American naval dominance. A single ship that could stand toe-to-toe with a U.S. strike group and tip the balance of power at sea. So how does the new Admiral Nakhimov compare to its Cold War ancestor? The basics remain the same: a massive hull, nuclear propulsion, and a crew of over 700 sailors, but almost everything inside has been gutted and replaced. Where the original Kirov was a ship of brute force, 20 giant missile tubes bolted onto its deck, the modern Nakhimov is flexible, modular, and missile-rich. Its 176 vertical launch cells can mix and match weapons depending on mission requirements, from anti-ship salvos to land attack strikes. Its defenses have also caught up with the times. The older S-300F systems have been upgraded, while new sensors and electronic warfare suites give the ship a fighting chance against NATO's stealth aircraft, submarines, and cruise missiles. Moreover, its anti-submarine arsenal has been expanded with Packet NK torpedoes and the Otvet missile system, helping guard against the very threat NATO would likely send first: hunter-killer submarines. In essence, Admiral Nakhimov is no longer just a carrier killer. It's a multi-role flagship capable of operating in contested seas, defending itself against air and undersea threats, and projecting power far beyond Russia's coastlines. Yet, for all its power, critics ask a pressing question: is a ship this big still relevant? In an age of stealth frigates, swarm drones, and cheap unmanned systems, a 28,000-ton behemoth is an obvious target. Its maintenance costs are immense, its operating crew massive, and its size impossible to hide. But here's the thing: sometimes symbolism matters as much as capability. That symbolism can shape strategy. In the Arctic, in the North Atlantic, or in the Pacific, the presence of one Kirov-class cruiser forces NATO navies to adapt, to plan, to divert resources. That alone gives Moscow leverage, even if the ship never fires a missile in anger. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching.